The stories presented in this video are real, but we have changed the characters' names and altered images to protect their identities. The creator of this video is not an investigative officer. These narratives have been sourced from various internet platforms. Our intent is not to accuse or target anyone in particular. Thank you for understanding.
Welcome to True Crime Stories Hub. Today we will examine yet another terrible situation. Jennifer Dulos, a loving mother, vanished from the sight of her 5 children and family on May 24, 2019. The authorities conducted a thorough investigation after this startling incident, and the results revealed an even more startling reality. Someone who used to be the center of Jennifer Dulos's world was responsible for her disappearance. Jennifer Dulos was born in New York City on September 27, 1968, to philanthropist Glories Ortenberg and financier Hillard Farber. Melissa Irene Farber, Jennifer's sister, was her only sibling. She was a student at Brown University. In 1990, she received her degree. She graduated from New York University's Tisch School of Arts with a master's degree in writing. Arthur Ortenberg, Jennifer's uncle, and his spouse established Liz Clairbone Incorporated, a fashion label. Jennifer Dulos married her beloved husband, Fotis Dulos, in 2004. Together, they had 5 kids, a female and 2 pairs of twins. Theodore Dulos, Constantine Dulos, Petros Dulos, Christian Dulos, and Cleopatra Noel Dulos are all Greek saints that they named after. Before their marriage fell apart in 2017, Jennifer and her husband, Fotis Dulos, had been together for 13 years. The guy Jennifer had once loved had become a source of fear for her. This raises the question of Fotis Dulos's identity. And what was different about him now? On August 6, 1967, Fotis Dulos was born in Turkey. He was raised in Greece's Athens. In 1986, Fotis relocated to the United States of America. He completed his studies at Brown University in 1989. A few years later, Fotis graduated from Columbia Business School with a master's degree in finance. At Brown University, Fotis met Hilary Vanessa Aldama, his first wife. They had gone to school together. In 2000, he wed her in Athens. Fotis relocated to Connecticut in 2004 following the breakdown of their marriage. A month after his divorce, in September 2004, Dulos wed Jennifer. When he was still married to Vanessa Aldama, he had been seeing Jennifer. They relocated to Farmington after getting married. Jennifer Dulos loved her life and her 5 children from their union. When she vanished, the police became suspicious because of that. Jennifer would never purposefully leave her kids behind. Jennifer had filed for divorce and was battling for sole custody of her children before her disappearance. She was afraid for her life and the lives of her children because her marriage to Fotis had deteriorated so much. In 2017, the Dulos marriage reached its lowest point. On March 12, 2012, Jennifer Dulos initially alluded to her marital issues in a blog post. She talked about how she wishes she were a lot stronger person and that conflicts didn't frighten and disgust her. Jennifer Dulos filed for divorce from Fotis Dulos in 2017 because she believed he was becoming more independent and cheating on her with his Venezuelan-born co-worker, Michelle Tricons. In 2017, Jennifer Dulos requested emergency custody of her 5 children. The court gave her and Fotis Dulos split custody even though it rejected her request. Jennifer Dulos feared for her life, but she was more concerned about her children's safety. She said that Fotis Dulos, her husband, was illogical, dangerous, bullying, threatening, and domineering. She talked about one of the bad things that happened to her in Fotis. On June 3, 2017, he discovered that she had organized activities for their kids on a Saturday morning. Fotis had lost control because it had not gone over well with him. Jennifer claimed that he had been angry and furious. She hurried upstairs in an attempt to escape him because she was afraid. However, Fotis followed her all the way up, and he continued to verbally abuse her and physically threaten her even after she locked the door and bolted it, trapping her within. With her spouse, Jennifer Dulos knew she was in danger. When she filed for divorce, she was inviting difficulties. She acknowledged in an interview that she was afraid of Fotis. She had acknowledged that her wish for a divorce had angered him, and he was going to hurt her in some way as payback. According to Jennifer Dulos, when she filed for divorce in May 2017, Fotis threatened to abduct and hurt their children if she didn't accept the terms of the settlement. That year, he had even purchased a firearm. Jennifer made another plea for emergency exclusive custody of her children in 2018. The court learned that Fotis had violated many court orders during the session. While both parents shared legal custody of the children, Jennifer was granted sole physical custody. Fotis was given access to monitored phone conversations and supervised visits. 70 miles from Fotis Dulos, Jennifer and the children moved into her leased home in New Canaan. Jennifer's accusation had truly upset Fotis Dulos. In a 2017 email to Jennifer, he conveyed his worries about his kids' welfare. Their children required both parents, not just one, he said. For the benefit of their kids, he had begged Jennifer to reevaluate their marriage. He went so far as to say that they may cooperate and come to terms with one another. But even as he denied the charge Jennifer made against him, Fotis asserted that Jennifer was the one who turned their children against him. He claimed that his children's mother told him he didn't care about them and labeled him a psychopath. Additionally, he asserted that Jennifer boasted about delaying the divorce for 2 years in order to have the mafia use a baseball bat to break his legs. Additionally, Fotis Dulos denied ever threatening to abduct his children. He acknowledged that he had purchased a firearm, but just for protection at home. If the subsequent incident had not occurred, Fotis Dulos' arguments might have been taken into account or even accepted. At approximately 8:05 a.m. on May 24, 2019, Jennifer Dulos was last seen. She had taken her kids to New Canaan County School that day and was home soon after. Some of her worried friends reported her disappearance to the police. Jennifer had 2 doctor's appointments in New York City, one at 11 a.m. and one at 1 p.m. Jennifer's pals were concerned when she failed to show up for her doctor's appointment because she never missed it. The disappearance of Jennifer Dulos caught the attention of others besides her friends. When Lauren Almeida, her live-in nanny, showed up at Jennifer's apartment in New Canaan at 11:30 a.m. and saw her Range Rover in the garage, she had been concerned. She remembered that Jennifer's Chevrolet Suburban was missing from the garage, and she had intended to use the vehicle to get to her doctor's appointment. It was not until 7 p.m. that Lauren Almeida notified the police that Jennifer had vanished. By then, it was obvious that something was wrong with Jennifer's absence because she never came home so late or went out by herself without telling anyone. The cops started looking into the unsettling reports. Jennifer's home in New Canaan was searched by certain detectives. All those who loved Jennifer Dulos, however, would be devastated by them. Splashes of blood were discovered on the garage floor. Additionally, blood traces were discovered on the garage door and one of the walls. Traces of blood were also discovered on the Range Rover's exterior. Only the kitchen of the house had blood splatters, and it wasn't only Jennifer's blood. It was a combination of her blood and that of her husband, Fotis Dulos. This raised questions about how Fotis Dulos killed his wife. Fotis Dulos was at Jennifer Dulos' apartment on the day she vanished, according to police investigations. Since the tracks surrounding Jennifer's house were too small to be those of a car, the police claimed that Fotis had arrived at her house on a bike. But until his wife came home from dropping her children off at school, Fotis waited for her. After that, he disposed of the evidence, cleaned up the area, and shot her in cold blood. The CCTV footage of Jennifer's neighbor's Chevrolet Suburban leaving her house was taken at around 10:25 a.m. Fotis Dulos was thought by the police to have been the driver. According to the authorities, he concealed Jennifer Dulos' body in the car along with other objects that were necessary for cleaning up the crime scene. Fotis Dulos had left the car 3 miles from New Canaan after concealing Jennifer's body. Fotis's strange behavior later that day gave the police reason to believe that he was a cold-blooded killer. Fotis Dulos and his girlfriend, Michelle Triconas, were captured on camera throwing rubbish in trash cans at approximately 7:30 p.m. If they hadn't used 30 trash cans in various locations along Alfred Avenue in Hartford, this may have appeared to be fairly regular. The authorities found many incriminating materials when they examined the dumpsters. The cops discovered various cleaning supplies, some blood-stained clothing, and used hand gloves in the trash bags. The things were put through a test, and the findings supported the police's concerns. While Fotis' DNA was discovered on one of the trash cans and inside one of the gloves, the blood matched that of Jennifer Dulos. Triconas, his lover, was a collaborator in the crime, which shocked people more than Fotis Dulos killing his wife in cold blood. Venezuelan-born Michelle Triconas was a multifaceted individual. Triconas was a former ESPN reporter in South America, a mother, and a horseback rider. However, nobody ever imagined that she would be a heartless criminal. When Fotis Dulos was still married to Jennifer Dulos, Michelle Triconas began dating him. The dissolution of his marriage was influenced by her liaison with Fotis. Triconas was taken in by the police to be questioned after Jennifer vanished. Jennifer stated that she had lunch with Fotis Dulos that afternoon when questioned where she was on the day she vanished. Additionally, she asserted that she and Dulos had visited one of his residences to tidy up before a customer appointment. According to the police, they were cleaning up the body of Jennifer Dulos. Additional videotapes revealing Michelle Triconas in a more precarious scenario were discovered as a result of the police inquiry. They discovered the precise method by which Fotis Dulos had carried out this heinous deed thanks to these tapes. The police thought Fotis Dulos had not done it alone since he had meticulously planned out his actions. On May 24, 2019, Fotis drove his employee's Tacoma truck to New Canaan, Connecticut, without getting his consent. The Tacoma truck was speeding on the interstate approaching Wavani Park in New Canaan when it was caught on camera by a school bus at 7:05 a.m. The location where Jennifer's Chevy Suburban will eventually be located. The discovery of a bicycle tire in the truck's boot was verified by the police. This confirmed the police's suspicion that Fotis Dulos had ridden his bicycle 3 miles to Jennifer's New Canaan residence from Wavani Park. Fotis was thought by the police to have arrived there before Jennifer. She had just returned when he had attacked in the garage. After cleaning up the evidence, he loaded Jennifer into her Chevrolet Suburban and drove directly to Wavani Park, where he placed her body inside the Tacoma truck. Fotis had left 2 enormous pieces of evidence of his presence in the New Canaan house, despite his best efforts to hide his existence. He had left his blood and Jennifer's blood mixture on the kitchen faucet and a swab of his DNA on the doorknob. Fotis allegedly spent hours cleaning the house, according to the police. According to the neighbor's security film, Jennifer's Chevrolet Suburban was seen leaving the house after 11 o'clock. 5 days after his wife vanished, Fotis Dulos committed another startling act that further cemented the police's belief that he was a heartless killer. Without authorization, Fotis Dulos once more drove the Tacoma truck. Fotis was as guilty as they come, as evidenced by his destination this time. He had taken the truck directly to a nearby car wash and detailing business. The truck's CCTV footage showed a black SUV following closely behind him. Michelle Triconas was the one behind the wheel of the SUV. Fotis may be seen leaving the vehicle at the car wash in the footage. He had then boarded Triconas' SUV and sat next to her. The authorities were certain that the couple's goal was to remove any traces of evidence from the vehicle. They were not as successful in their search, though. DNA samples belonging to Jennifer were discovered on the car's passenger seat. Fotis Dulos was the primary suspect in Jennifer Dulos' disappearance, as was to be expected given the overwhelming evidence that had been gathered against him. Fotis Dulos was taken into custody and charged with capital murder, and kidnapping on June 7, 2020. It wasn't until June 2020 that Fotis Dulos was taken into custody for the murder and abduction of Jennifer Dulos. Fotis should have been detained sooner, as you might have expected, but he was not charged with murder. Michelle Trocanese and Fotis Dulos were taken into custody at a hotel in Avon, Connecticut, on June 1, 2019. They were accused of tampering with evidence and impeding persecution. The police lacked sufficient evidence against the pair at the time of their arrest. Both of them entered not guilty pleas to the accusations. Norm Pattis is now Fotis Dulos' lawyer. Pattis was adamant that Jennifer Dulos had passed away. Trocanese and Fotis were let free. However, they were taken into custody in September 2019 for tampering with evidence and obstructing the course of law. Nonetheless, Fotis made his appearance in court in October 2019. He asked that the accusations against him be dropped. The court stated that he will investigate the case and examine the defense and prosecution's claims. Jennifer and Fotis Dulos were residing with their maternal grandmother at this time. The children were 8 to 13 years old at the time. The court granted interim custody of the children to their grandma. 2020 saw the release of Waterloo by Fotis Dulos. His girlfriend, Michelle Trocanese, was arrested for murder conspiracy in January, and he was detained and charged with his ex-wife's capital murder. Michelle Trocanese and Fotis got estranged after the arrest. She acknowledged in an interview that she had erred greatly in putting her trust in Fotis. Trocanese allegedly left the $5 million house in Fotis Farmington with her daughter before their arrest in 2020. Kent Douglas Mawhinney, a friend and former attorney of Fotis Dulos, was also taken into custody and accused of conspiring to commit murder. At gunpoint, Mawhinney was hauled in. He was thought by the authorities to have assisted Fotis and Trocanese in fabricating an alibi the morning before Jennifer vanished. Additionally, Douglas Mawhinney's wife had accused him of spousal rape during that time. Mawhinney and his wife parted ways. And once he was taken into custody in relation to the murder of Jennifer Dulos, things worsened. His wife believed that her life was in jeopardy. His wife informed the South Windsor Police Department that her husband, with the assistance of his buddy Fotis Dulos, was plotting her murder. The police found out that Douglas Mawhinney belonged to an East Granby gun club while conducting their investigations. Police were notified by a group of local hunters that they had discovered a human grave on a club-owned land. When the police searched the disputed property, they did discover some extremely strange items. On the remote farm, a shallow grave was discovered. The police discovered a blue tarp and 2 bags of lime in the burial. Although no body was discovered in the grave, the police thought it might have been dug out. In August 2019, a dog assisted in the discovery of the grave. It was regrettable that Jennifer's body was not located in spite of the arrests. Even though their daughter was going to receive justice, her family was saddened. The family's spokesperson acknowledged in an interview that they felt no sense of closure following the defendant's arrest. He acknowledged that the pain in their hearts would never go away because Jennifer's killer would never be able to bring her back. On January 8, 2020, the bail amount for Fotis Dulos was established at $6 million. The following day, he was freed on bond. Nevertheless, he was required to appear in court again on February 8, 2020. Douglas Mawhinney's bond was set at $2 million, while Michelle Trocanese was also released on bail, but it was lowered to over $200,000. He was freed on October 19, 2020, after posting bail. An tragic situation resulted from Fotis Dulos' dread as his cruel actions caught up with him. Fotis did to show up for an emergency hearing in court on January 28, 2020. He was ordered to appear in court by the judge. When the police arrived to his house in Farmington, they discovered Fotis unconscious in his car. It seems that Fotis attempted suicide because he was unable to accept the repercussions of his conduct. Fotis had used carbon monoxide to poison himself. He had passed a vacuum cleaner back into the inside of his SUV after connecting it to the exhaust pipe. He had regained a faint pulse after the cops started cardiopulmonary resuscitation. He was taken by ambulance to Yukon Medical Center. He was moved by the facility to the Bronx's Jacobi Medical Facility for hyperbaric oxygen treatment. The children of Fotis, who were still living with their grandmother, paid their father a visit when he was in the hospital. They had not seen their father since he was charged with Jennifer's murder. The cops discovered a suicide note in Fotis' vehicle. He had indicated that he was not prepared to be imprisoned for an hour for something he had no knowledge of. The Jacobi Medical Center pronounced Fotis dead on January 30, 2020. Anna Curry, Fotis' final girlfriend, claimed to have been with him on the day of his emergency hearing, according to the police report made public after his death. She informed the police that she had intended to drive to the court with Fotis. But Fotis informed her that he would rather they go apart. Curry acknowledged that when Fotis' lawyer contacted to inquire as to why Fotis was not in court, she had been frightened. She had informed him that Fotis ought to have been in court while she was driving. The lawyer responded that Fotis was still in his Farmington home based on his GPS tracker. Curry asked the lawyer to call 911 because she understood right away that Fotis had hurt herself. The murder charges against Fotis Dulos were dismissed after his death. A judge granted the prosecutors a novel prosequi request on March 3, 2020. Although Fotis Dulos was not exonerated of the charges against him, his death prevented the prosecution from moving forward. That fact is acknowledged in novel prosequi. It does, however, give the prosecution a year to resubmit the case, failing which it is dismissed for good. The lawyer for Fotis Dulos stated during the hearing that he would like to clear his client's name. Norm Patas thought Foley's had been set up. He maintained that the police had discovered bloody clothing and other incriminating objects in front of Foley's front porch, and that whomever had set him up had disposed of them. Foley's, on the other hand, had foolishly decided to get rid of them. Thus, the police discovered the CCTV film. Patas asked that the defendant be changed to the estate of Fotis Dulos. But since then, Patas' plea has not been taken into account. After being charged with plotting the murder of Jennifer Dulos, Michelle Troconis was placed under home arrest. However, because her case was placed on hold due to the COVID pandemic, there had not been any notable advancements. In an interview, Troconis' attorney, John Sheehan, acknowledged that Michelle Troconis' case had not advanced even the slightest. However, Douglas Mawhinney was supposed to appear in court on June 2, 2020, and she was supposed to appear on August 6, 2020. Despite this, both parties entered not guilty pleas to the charges. Michelle Troconis spoke in an interview to everyone who had decided to criticize her without even knowing her. She acknowledged that people could be misjudged. She was unable to decide, though, if Fotis Dulos was capable of killing his wife. However, she was able to recognize that trusting Fotis had been a waste of time, and she was correct. Jennifer Dulos was still missing 4 years after she vanished. The authorities have searched multiple locations for her body over the years. 3 miles from New Canaan, at Wavani Park, the police had started their search in 2019. They had conducted a thorough search of the region using helicopters and dogs. But when that failed, the search was expanded to include New York City. There was a property owned by the Dulos family. The cops had conducted a thorough check of the site before focusing on central Connecticut. In an attempt to locate Jennifer, the police continued their search of Hartford, Connecticut, which resulted in CCTV footage of Fotis Dulos throwing trash bags in various trash cans throughout the city. This brought the cops to the city's garbage processing facility. Weeks passed during the hunt, but it was worthwhile because the cops discovered a wealth of valuable evidence. The Dulos family frequently visited a unique fishing pond near Avon, where the search was conducted. Central Connecticut was the next stop for the police. They looked into homes owned by 4 Inc., the missing husband's business. It is estimated that roughly 3,000 acres are covered. But Jennifer Dulos was nowhere to be seen. They located a Farmington home on Mountain Spring Road in August 2021 that was linked to Jennifer Dulos' spouse. In order to follow up on previous leads, the police had decided to search the house. Bob Perry, a well-known specialist in identifying unmarked cemeteries, was invited by the police. To get the greatest results, the cops also brought an excavator and a septic rank. The police have not yet provided any information regarding the location of Jennifer Dulos' body. Even though Jennifer Dulos' tale was horrific, it had a positive outcome. A domestic violence measure was approved by the Connecticut State Senate in May 2021. The bill bears the names of Jennifer Dulos and Jennifer Magnano, 2 other victims of domestic abuse. Almost unanimously, all Senate members supported the bill. Governor Ned Lamont signed the bill into law on June 28, 2021. Another casualty of a highly toxic marriage was Jennifer Magnano, the other Jennifer after whom the statute was named. Her husband, Scott Magnano, killed her in cold blood in Terryville, Connecticut, in 2007. Scott Magnano killed himself in front of his 3 kids just after the horrific deed. Unfortunately, the family of Jennifer Dulos has not been able to move on from the loss of their daughter. The family spokesperson talked about how much they missed Jennifer in an interview. He revealed that even those who had never met Jennifer were deeply saddened by her absence because of her amazing personality and cheerful disposition.